Before you can install a toilet in a basement, you will probably need to install a toilet flange. Let's check that out. Alright, let's say you're gonna finish your basement bathroom. Most of the time, plumbers will just stub the toilet pipe up through the floor so that you can install the flange later after the flooring has been installed. So what do you do with this pipe sticking up out of the floor? Well, first of all, you're gonna need to cut it off. I like to use a Sawzall, just cut it down close as I can to the floor. Sometimes you have to get on an angle here and there to get all the way through. Once I've cut that pipe all the way around, I'm going to get right down against the floor and trim off anything that's still sticking up. The thing is, we've got to get that flange all the way down to the floor, like as low as we can. Now obviously you want to try and keep pipe from falling down into that hole. Major chunks of pipe that fall down there could be an obstruction in the sewer later. You're going to have to reach down in and grab anything that has fallen down in there. Fortunately at this point, the pipe hasn't been used yet. I like to sweep and clean things up as I go. Now it's time to glue in the flange. If you're using primer, especially purple primer, please remember these are finished surfaces and you need to be super careful not to make a mess or to splash or to stain things that you do not want purple. What we're dealing with here is a 4-inch pipe and a 4x3-inch toilet flange. That means that toilet flange is going to glue down inside of the 4-inch pipe. I'm gluing from the outside of the flange and into the inside of the pipe in this situation. That same flange could glue over the top of a 3-inch pipe, so it's really useful. But again, in this case, I'm going to prime and glue both the pipe on the inside and the flange on the outside. Now notice my flange is sticking up a little bit from the floor. That's a problem. I'm just going to stamp this down all the way as far as I can into the floor. If your flange is too high off of the floor surface, it can hold your toilet up. It'll make it rock. It makes it hard to set level. So you want to get that flange down as far as you can. The flange has several slots where your flange bolts will go. That's what tightens the toilet down to the floor. So we got to make sure that those slots are equal distance from the wall, and that way when our bolts are in place, the toilet will not be crooked in relation to the wall behind it. Now if you're using a flange that has a plastic ring, or the whole flange is made of plastic, you're still going to want to make sure that those slots are equal distance. I like these metal rings. I feel like they're more durable. But either way, we're going to have to anchor that flange down into the concrete. So you can see I'm using a hammer drill with a 1/4-inch bit, and I'm going to drill out for each of my anchors. I prefer to use hit pin anchors. These are a simple anchor that slide down in, and then you can hammer that down with a hammer, and that thing's not coming out. There may be a variety of other anchors you could use. The important thing is just that it's solid down into the floor. I would suggest using at least 4 anchors as you're securing the flange. If the flange can move, then the toilet can move. If the toilet moves, then the toilet will leak. So having a solid flange is absolutely critical. This particular flange has a built-in cap, so it can be used for testing. But when I'm ready to set the toilet, I need to knock that out. So I just beat that with a hammer. And then I like to use a flathead screwdriver to pry that out. Again, just being careful not to let anything fall down into the pipe as I'm clearing that opening. Then I'll put on the flange bolts. Those are the bolts and nuts that we tighten against the flange at the bottom. I like to put a nut and a washer for each flange bolt. That really keeps that bolt secure and standing straight up, which makes it easier to set the toilet. Finally, I will install the wax. I like to use a horned wax. That's the one with the black funnel coming out the bottom. And oftentimes I'll double up the wax because, what? It's cheap, and the more wax the better. Once the wax is in place, it's ready for the bowl. Hopefully this is helpful to you as you are preparing to set a toilet in a basement bathroom. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you later.